Hey guys, Ryan Kettering here. Hey, I just got off a client call, onboarding call with a new client of ours, and I gave them a tip that I wanted to give to you guys, and it's actually one that I give on stage many times as well. And it's how can you create your website in a way that's different from everyone else's, so that when a client's on there, it doesn't look like you're the same. So basically, the problem is that most people's sites look, sound, say all the same things as their competitors, which basically means that you're telling your potential client that we are no different from our competitors. And you and I both know that there's nothing further than from the truth than that. You are nothing like your competitors. Otherwise, there would be no reason for both of you in the market. So why is there a reason for you in the market? It is these things that you do different. It's the ways that you do things differently. It's why you do things differently, how we do things differently. And ultimately what we're trying to provide in the market, even further than the actual service that we're being hired to do, right? Because if you just if like people don't recommend you or use you again because of the actual service you did. You guys know that, right? Because if that was true, the competitor does the service too, right? So it's not the literal things written on the invoice, which is why they hire you again. It's your way of delivering those things is the only reason that they would hire you again or tell somebody else about you, or leave a review, right? It has to be the stuff that's not written on the invoice, right? Because doing what's on the invoice is the bare minimum of being a professional, right? So it's the other stuff. So what is that other stuff? And how do I get it on my website so that people can see it sooner and experience it sooner and understand it sooner, so that I don't look like I think that I'm like my competitors, because that's not true. So a lot of people know sort of intuitively that they're different than competitors, but they have a trouble communicating that. And so I want to give you a super simple way that you can communicate that easier. So these are brand personality archetypes. There's 12 of them, right? And I want to zoom in on just these two. I just had a client call, and theirs was, these two. The Everyman and Hero was their brand personality archetypes. So just to show you guys those really quick. And the Everyman is facilitating connection through belonging, and the Hero is facilitating legacy through excellence. So the hero could be a superhero kind of feel, but it's really about, like, I'll give you a different example of a hero. A hero is, it's that excellence. It's the NBA player that jumps up, the ball leaves his hands, and there's this moment of time which everything stops and we're all just waiting, and then whew, swoosh, right? That's excellence. It's not about just getting the basket. It's about the perfect rehearsed. He's done it a million times over and over and over. And we see that excellence come out in a moment, right? That is what the hero is about. It's about that swift and exactness that takes multiple times of training and rehearsing and routine, fail. And then we can do things at this excellent level. That's the hero, right? So if I have a client that has their primary archetype is the Everyman, their secondary is the hero, how do I get my site to not feel like everyone else's site? Well, I just need to kind of use that as my seasoning on the site, to give me a different flavor. And so what that might look like is you go to your website, go to the above the fold of the website, and then when you're on that page, do I immediately have connection? That's the Everyman. So do I immediately create that sense of belonging for a customer, right? That could come through with just having a face on there, right? You might, if you're still in this video, you're probably connected to me at this moment, right? So how do I have that sense of connection that can come through a face of a person many times, or kind of that warmth that kind of comes through with people interacting, or a person interacting with the viewer? And then could be a video, could be a photo though. Could be the way that you say things as well, like the wording that you use. Something can be worded in a more warm way, a more inviting way. And then the hero. if that's their secondary, once I have your connection and your attention, right? Now, do I immediately have then a feeling of me having this expertise, this excellence come through, this in sometimes a little bit of a dramatic way, right? Or that feeling of that it's been rehearsed thousands of times, and I have this excellence that is delivered in that very first panel, right? Where I have your attention, you feel like you belong, and then you feel like we have excellence, we deliver excellence. So easy way to do that is honestly, some of you guys probably are already trying to do that. Like it says at the top of your site, like, I don't know, top rated in the area, or let's just use that as an example. Well, that's great, but what if I don't believe you? And what if all of your other competitors say that same thing? So you could still say top rated if that's true, but then give the evidence, right? Put a link. It's like I should be able to click and see the reviews, right? Give a snippet of a review on there, right? Show not only that it's the top rated, but the nature of the level of work that you do that contributes to that rating. So you have a specifically chosen review that speaks to the excellence that you deliver, right? Or you could pick something else. Also, the way that the images are, you can have the everyman and the hero come through in the same thing. Let me show you guys. So like for instance, with some of the work that we've done for people, let me find an everyman hero. How about this? The men in kilts. So the men in kilts, get this a little closer for you, is a everyman hero. It's a little blurry. You can look it online if you want. So men in kilts is everyman hero. Do you see how Kilty, that's his name, do you see how Kilty not only is approachable, but he also feels very capable? He feels like he's cleaned a window millions of times. He feels like your job would be no problem. He feels like he can handle anything you throw at him because he's an expert. He's seen it all before, right? He's capable. That's the everyman hero, and so if that's you, for instance, and you can if you comment, I don't know where this video is gonna be posted, but if you comment and you want this sheet, I can send it to you. You can find what your brand personality archetypes are. I'll do another video to kind of help you understand how to identify that better. But how do you get that coming through on every single panel of your website? So you above the fold, okay, got it, boom. Now scroll down. A lot of people miss it. Now it's like I'm back to just paragraphs and paragraphs of text that mean nothing, and it's built for SEO. It's not even built for real people. It's built for bots. Again, now I have to do it again. How do I connect with you in this panel of my website? How do I show you that we deliver expertise through iteration? How do I show that excellence coming through? How do I show my swoosh, right? So connection, swoosh, next panel. And within the content, so that's just tonality. The content is a separate story, right? The content is leading them down a path that is intended to move them to the next point in the buying experience, which is probably a phone call or a quote, or maybe a download something, lead mag, whatever it is, right? But you're trying to move them along in their decision making, but it's done in your tonality. And so the content's a little bit separate, right? Because but that's the tonality. Every single panel, scroll down again. I gotta connect, swoosh, scroll down, connect, swoosh. And then I'm saying something different, of course, each time, because I'm moving them through a series of things to try to get them further along in their decision-making process, right? So anyways, hopefully that's helpful for you guys. Let me know if you need that sheet, and we'll do some future content to help you understand what is your brand personality archetypes as well. But all this is part of the fractal brand identity framework, where essentially we say, if this is you, just stamp it on everything. That's why I say you scroll down again, because that is what fractal branding is all about. It's about saying, here's who we are at the base, and we're going to put that on everything. All right, later guys.